Hey ladies, good evening to you. I was just scrolling through a live just now and I heard one of the most profound statements. The young lady stated that she is not going to have two children out of wedlock for two different men. She's not going to do it. No, she's not having two baby fathers. No, she's not. If she said if she's married, she's going to think about having one for him. I can understand her. I would go further to say, honey bunny, if you're married, the two shall become one. Your body belongs to your husband body belongs to you. So if he asks, he says, honey, I want to have a child, it's incumbent upon you to grant him that. Because, you two shall become one as God says. So, but I understand her fears because you do have those cases where people are married and the husband still does not take care of the children and they're married. There are cases like that. However, it's a little bit different when you're married. When he's in the home, he's compelled to do the duty of a husband and a father financially. You understand? It's easier for you if you have to go to court if needs be to get the whole. I don't even like to talk about the whole child, what you call it, alimony or whatever they call it for the children. It's different when you're married. The commitment is there. He lives there with you. Whether it's a case where you live abroad and you live here. In other words, when you're married, it's far different. There are certain commitments that are made, certain things that are put in place by the laws of the land. He cannot just willy-nilly, do as he feels or sort of a situation. And there's a blessing that comes when you're married from the Almighty God himself. And he's going to be very careful because he's now a husband. He doesn't want anybody to go around and say what a deadbeat husband, not taking care of his children. Somehow it doesn't faze them when, they're not married to the mother of the children. I don't subscribe to the outside of wedlock children. There are many of us who are born that way. Many. But I can tell you, many are brokenhearted. Many are brokenhearted. Because the fathers are absent. They are absent. And when he goes to this one, gets this one pregnant, he goes to another one. It's too many children. He financially cannot support them. The average black man is not wealthy. The average black man is not wealthy. It's a reality. We have to keep it real. And sometimes even if it's from another race, you find a lot of problems happening too. But women, we have to take back that power, that control. You tell a man how to treat you. A big way is when you get pregnant out of wedlock. When you get pregnant out of wedlock. I was on the same live they were doing the game thing, And a girl said she knew of a situation. The girl was involved with a man for 13 years, not married, but, maybe it's a common law, dating, She said as soon as she had gotten pregnant, shortly after the man left her. You see? And even in cases like that. Now, when you are married and the man, if he decides to leave, he can't just leave like that, He can't take up him 2 bags and just walk out of the house. I know they have the thing for common law, but, it probably is. It's not going to be as smooth and sweet and succinct when you're married. So if he decides to leave, there are certain things that probably he will have to do. Can't just leave like that. I know the laws in Jamaica probably are different because maybe it's more in favor of the men. In America, they shut down everything for you until you deal with your child. Maybe it goes also for men who have children outside of wedlock. But when you're in the marriage, oh my God, there are bonds that are created that are entangled, tied up. When you have something that it just tangled up, the only way to get it out is to cut it, to try and get the strings out, for example. Yeah. Do not, women, take back your power, take back your control. Not all women are fortunate, let us put it that way, to have the fathers of the children, even if they're not married, to take care of them. I realize that nowadays generation, some of them are different. Some are, not all, some. They have their child, they stick by their child because they know what it was in their generation. Their fathers left them. Not saying they don't do it when they're not married. but you put yourselves in far more problems. And also, you want to limit that possibility of you having children. Not to say you can't cheat on your spouse, which, you don't generally find out when a woman is married. I'm not saying it. Then again, let me be quiet because I've heard of the whole jacket business. But in marriage, though, we're talking in marriage, usually those jacket business that we hear of, terrible, terrible situation. Heard of one where the woman had 5 children and not one belonged to the man. I don't think it was her husband, but maybe it's a common law situation. Not one. Not even peace at the picnic. That was horrible. That's horrible. But in marriage, though, generally, I don't think you have children that, it doesn't belong to the man. In general, I said, in the marriage. When you're not married, the commitment is not really there. Because in the back of each person's mind is that I'm not married to him, so even if I go out and cheat, it's not really, I'm not committing adultery. Yeah, we're fornicating because we're all, and fornication is far more than just having sex outside of marriage. It's far more than that. I don't subscribe to it, women. There are a number of women who have had regrets, and it makes the women bitter and angry and resentful because they have it. When they look, they have to go to this father for that child, that one for this child. They're not even sure if it's this one. What? Take back your control, ladies. Don't do this to yourselves. It's like you take on triple trouble on one situation. So you have one child is like a triple trouble. You have to now deal with that child, and if the man gets up and leaves because you're not married to him, you have to now take on that. The stress of trying to get money from him, the stress, And sometimes because you do these things outside of marriage, your enemy has put a lien on you. A lot of people don't understand. When I say lien, Lien, what they talk about? Like when you put a lien on a home, when you take a loan or you owe some money, and they need to wreak havoc in your lives. Take back your control, women. Try and not have children outside of wedlock, because you lessen the chances of them having the two parents in the home, guiding them, teaching them the way of life, how they ought to live, what they ought to do to be socially fit human beings in the society. It is devastating. No matter how you see somebody accomplished in life, when they don't have one parent, when they don't have one parent, and it's usually not having the father, there's a hole that is left inside of them. I can tell you from experience. It's not good. He wants to have a child. Say, sure, no problem. Let us go down the aisle first. You're going to commit to me and to this child. Because guaranteed, they're not going to leave so quickly because they know the difficulty. When you're married, you think it's easy to just say, oh, you're going to divorce because you're going to have to give up half of this, half of that, go through this, go through that. And most people not going through that rigmarole. So I'm going to have to stick it through. Most people not going through that rigmarole. And you don't generally find the black men just, when they're married now, just walking out so quickly like that. Because they weigh everything. And if the cons outweigh the pros, the man not moving. Because emotionally, they can't take too much damage, They're not tough as us. Emotionally, they're physically strong and tough. Not emotionally. Take back your power, women. Do not. I have to really put the do not. It sounds, I can't tell you what to do. We all have our own. We all have that right to make our choices. But if we make that bed, you better believe it. We are going to lay not sweetly in it. It's going to be like maca in the bed, or some red ants, some biting ants in the bed, all over the bed. And we have no choice. That's the only place where we can get rest. Don't make any man take you for brekkie. Don't make no man take you for idiot and fool and dopey bat. Don't. Don't. I'm not saying it does not happen in marriages, but there are not as many as the ones that are outside of marriages. I'm not saying a man can leave and forget his children like that, but it's not going to be as easy like that as when you're out of wedlock. Please, women, the one you have when you have 10, 20 different baby fathers. No, sir. No, man. Breaks something inside of you as a woman. And then you wonder, no, you see a man that you really like and he probably is interested, and then you say, guess what? have 10 children by 10 different. I'm going to say, what? Oh no, I'm gone. A word to the wise is sufficient unto the day. Guys, follow me on TikTok. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Please share this message. Have a good